Amid the chaos of a brutal war, an unlikely friendship blossomed between a young American soldier and a poor Vietnamese boy. The soldier promised the boy a watch he had admired, but that promise could not be fulfilled at the time. For more than 40 years, he kept thinking of ways to return to Vietnam and give the gift to his little friend. Today, let us revisit that story from long ago. A story where trust and kindness built a bridge between two cultures that were once at odds. 40-year promise kept. U.S. soldier reunites with Vietnamese boy to return a watch. The American soldier in this story is Phil Seymour, now nearly 80, living with his wife in a northern state in the U.S. Phil arrived in Vietnam in December 1966. At the time, he was a sergeant in a company of the 1st Marine Division. 6 months later, his unit was stationed on a small island near Hoi An, Da Nang. It was there that a strange and unlikely friendship began between him and a Vietnamese child. At that time, near the American encampments, Vietnamese children often played around the soldiers. These children were not afraid of the blue-eyed, fair-skinned men carrying rifles. Some even climbed onto the soldiers playfully, laughing freely. Innocent, unrestrained laughter that filled the air. Part of it was curiosity. Part of it was that the children could receive candy and canned goods from the Americans, luxuries they rarely saw at home. During his free time, Phil often rowed ashore with his fellow Marines to explore Hoi An. The children would rush up to them, chatting, asking for candy, or for some of the canned food. Phil and his team would always share their rations, playing and laughing with the kids. Among the children, one boy caught Phil's attention more than the others. His name was Cam, about 9 years old, whom Phil affectionately called Cam. Unlike the others, Cam was shy and full of dignity. He never demanded anything from the soldiers and never took anything without permission. Usually, he would watch from a distance as the other children asked for treats. And if someone gave him candy, he would give something back in return, a few bananas, some coconuts, or a few limes. Because of this, he quickly became a favorite among the Marines. One day in June 1967, Cam gave Phil a banana. Phil was preparing to move with his unit to Thailand, but he didn't tell Cam right away, fearing the boy would be sad. That afternoon, before Phil was to leave, Cam came to play as usual. Seeing Phil's uniform was dirty, Cam offered to wash it by the canal. While doing so, Cam noticed a beautiful stainless steel wristwatch in Phil's shirt pocket. He stared at it for minutes, mesmerized, but he didn't take it. He carefully returned it to Phil. Later, Phil asked Cam if he wanted a gift. After a moment of shy thought, the boy pointed at Phil's watch and muttered a few words in broken English. Phil knew Cam really wanted the watch, but it was a keepsake, a birthday gift from Phil's parents, so he couldn't give it away. The next day, as he prepared to leave Hoi An, Phil patted Cam on the shoulder and said, "When I come back, I will buy you a watch just like mine." Once in Thailand, Phil found a new watch and waited for the day he could return. But the war dragged on, and he could not fulfill his plan. Eventually, he was ordered back to the U.S. Life in America was busy and full for Phil. He married, remained in the military for 27 more years, earned a master's degree in law, and became a lawyer at the Pentagon. He eventually served as chief prosecutor and retired in 1995. Yet throughout all those years, he never stopped thinking about the promise he had made long ago to a small boy in a poor Vietnamese village. 40 years haunted by a promise. That boy from long ago is now Mr. Le Din Cam. Life's daily struggles had made him almost forget the watch from all those years ago, but Phil carried that lingering sense of guilt with him in every dream for over 40 years. He said that Cam might have forgotten the watch, but he never could. It was a promise made to a child, a little friend he had once cherished deeply. Phil had kept the watch he had bought for Cam safe in his backpack all these years. Then one day, 40 years later, in 2007, Phil decided to begin the journey to find that boy. The only clue he had was a photo of the child that he had kept with him all these years. With the help of a travel company, Phil finally found Cam, who was now a 49-year-old carpenter still living in Hoi An, in Zone 8, Tante Block, Cam Chow Ward. Mr. Lu Trung Kien, the operations manager of OET Travel Company in Hanoi, met Phil personally and helped locate Cam. Mr. Kien recalled that on the flight from Hanoi to Da Nang and then to Hoi An, Phil barely slept. He kept the watch box clutched in his hands the entire time. Kien recalled, on the flight from Hanoi to Da Nang and then Hoi An, Phil barely slept. He kept holding the watch box in his hands. Sometimes he would take out old photos of himself with Cam and say, "Time is running out. I want to see Cam again before I die." I was deeply moved and promised him that I would do everything I could to make it happen. As soon as Phil landed in Hoi An, Kien rushed to trace the location where Phil's unit had been stationed decades ago, hoping to find the boy in the photograph. When he learned that the former U.S. Army camp was now just a mound of earth in Cam Ton Commune, about 6 kilometers from Hoi An's old town, he showed Phil's photos to local people. The residents recognized Cam and his father even after 40 years and ran to notify him. When Phil arrived, Cam was still working in the fields. A relative ran to tell him someone was there to see him. Without even washing the mud from his pants, Cam walked straight to a small hotel on Qua Dai Street. When Phil saw him, now with silver hair, he ran to Cam and broke into tears. At that moment, Cam had no idea what was happening. Phil said, "Cam, you're the Cam from Hoi An, 1967. Do you remember me?" "Phil, your friend from long ago." Seeing Cam puzzled, Phil took the watch from his pocket and held it up to Cam's chest. Phil said, "Do you remember? I bought this in Thailand and have kept it for 40 years, waiting for this day to give it to you." Looking at the watch, Cam's memories came rushing back. Moments by the riverside, talking with Phil all those years ago. The watch was finally given, and the emotions were overwhelming. Phil shared, "If I had broken a promise to an adult, I might not have felt such regret. But this was a promise to a kind, innocent child. He never asked for anything, always wore a smile on his face." The friendship between the American and Vietnamese families didn't end there. In 2021, when Phil had an accident and was hospitalized, V flew to the U.S. to take care of him, since she knew he and his wife had no children to do so. V said that without the extraordinary friendship between her father and Phil, she would probably still be sitting somewhere in Hoi An selling fabrics, never able to pursue her dream career in tourism. War leaves behind loss, but it also brings stories of humanity. The genuine friendship between Phil and Cam stands as a living testament to the power of kindness, transcending hatred and time.